Alright, I've laid out all the parts for a sumo robot and the tools here, and let's get started. The first thing you really want to do is take your board and your USB and test that it can hook up and work. It should. Then the next thing is to assemble this. So let's get started. We're going to take the chassis and your circuit board, and you'll notice there's this push button on the back that goes through this area. Now it's going to be a little snug getting past these two wheel mounts. And that's how it goes. And take the battery box that's going to go on here. But first we need to put in the nylon screws. So here they are. Slide them through. Slide those all the way through. Now we're going to put 2 nuts on each of these. I don't recommend using any metal tools down here because you could damage the circuit board. Well, first we're going to tighten a nut on each one. So after I've gotten that done with my fingers, I'm going to hold the nut and then take the screwdriver and tighten it some more. Okay. Alright. So that should feel snug. And then go ahead, put on the second one. And this will help lock it in place. It also creates some space to separate the finger guard, which will go on last, from the electronics. Okay. So with that in place, we're ready to solder the battery box. The negative wire goes through the front. And through the hole labeled VBAT-. The positive terminal will run out through the big opening and through the hole labeled VBAT+. So now we're going to solder these wires on, and I'm going to flip it over. So there's one there, and the other one's here. Now I've already wet the sponge, so it's damp. I'm going to use that to clean off solder. You can also use brass wool. The goal is to have the tip shiny, and then apply a little solder. That will help transfer heat from the tip of the iron onto what you want to solder together. So leave that there for a second or so, and it's soldered. What we're looking for is the solder to flow in to the actual hole and go all around the wire and that copper pad. Okay, so we need to install the buzzer, which is this black one. And make sure that you put the pins go in the front and the back. There are 2 holes side to side, but they don't have any copper on them. So do front to back. And then if you set a wheel underneath that, it'll hold it in place while you solder. These metal posts are a little thicker than the wires of the battery compartment. You may notice that they do take a little longer. Alright. And there's our buzzer. This is the next thing we need to solder the motors. There are two here and two there. So we're going to take with the wire strippers and our wire, cut enough wire to go from there to there. So 2.5 to 3 inches. Now let's go ahead and cut the red. Okay, that's where we have some extra wire in case anything messes up. Now this wire is small, so you need a hole that says 22 on it. Or simply scrape off the plastic insulation. Wire strippers are much quicker. Okay, now we'll take our motors. You'll notice on the bottom there's a small circle with a plus symbol. Put your red wire through that hole, and then the black through the hole of the other one. A nice way to hold them together while you solder them is to twist. But you gotta make sure you don't have excess wire, exposed wire like that. So I'm gonna undo this and actually push more of this wire through the hole. There we go. You'll do that for the other motor as well. Now when we solder these motors, I'm just going to prop it up. We're going to apply flux to these terminals. That'll help clean off any oil that might be left over from when they were building the motors. Once again, clean our tip, apply some solder to it, and then get it right on the metal. We don't want to put it on the plastic, because the plastic housing will heat up and melt. You'll notice when you have flux on there, there will be a little more fizzing noise, maybe even a little more smoke, and that's perfectly normal. And take a look. There they are. Now the motors, the wire should come out through here. The wire is actually going to loop around. Now we're going to put on what we call the motor cover. The secret to getting the motor cover on is to snap the back end in first. And then get your motors in place. squeeze it shut. You'll notice this one's sticking out. That's perfectly fine. We can push on him and maybe open that up a little bit to get him tucked in there, like so. Now that those are in place, let's put these in their spots. You'll see a MTR _R that has a plus and one with a minus. So the red wire from the motor here goes into the plus here. And of course the black wire goes in to the minus. If you don't want them to fall out, you can fold them over. You can also take tape and tape them in place. So, once again, the plus is on the left, the minus is on the right. I'm just going to fold them over. But make sure they don't touch your other components down here. Now, time to solder. Clean my tip. Okay. With the motors in place, we are ready to install wheels. These ones have a shape like a Hershey Kiss. And the bottom of that Hershey Kiss goes on the flat side of the motor. There we go. Should be a snug fit. If it's really loose, or you put it on and it just starts falling off, add a little Gorilla Glue, just a drop to the hole, slide the wheels on, and then you could put a rubber band around it or put some weight on it. You gotta make sure though, you only use just a tiny bit in that hole because the Gorilla Glue will expand a lot. And if you use too much, it could expand and actually get into the motor. So, you want your wheels to spin freely. If they don't, you should get a drill bit and make it just a little larger. There we go. I'm going to tighten this until it stops spinning freely. See that? And then back it up just a little. And do the same for the other wheels. Okay, so the wheels are on. We can go ahead and put the tracks on. And then we're going to attach the scoop. We're going to use these long metal machine screws. And that's the scoop, the ultrasound distance sensor. Slides in there. Last but not least is our finger guard. It has a protective coating that we should be able to peel off. There we go. And we're going to put on these two nuts. Now, because the finger guard will protect your circuits, if you want to take some pliers, you can grab those, give them a little extra tightening. And that's it. When you're ready to turn it on, that's the power switch. When you want to program it, that's where the USB goes. Good luck! See you in the competitions!